Hello you guys and welcome to this channel of mine. I'm really excited for you to be here. This is a very new channel, so I really do appreciate your support. So I'm going to be sharing all kinds of things that I'm passionate about when it comes to like motherhood and parenting and kids and just the daily life of kind of being a mom and also a full-time business owner. But anyways, let's get started. So of course you're here because you clicked on the video and you wanted to find out, oh my gosh, how did I know that I was pregnant? So for the second time, I should say, because my first son, he's already almost 24, so almost 2 years old in November. So that makes him 22 months right now. And I'm pregnant currently with my second one. I'm in my 6th month right now. So how did I know I was pregnant? So the first time actually, I didn't know I was pregnant. There were some signs as well from what I could see. I think with the first one, I have to say, I felt very emotional. I just remember that I had some meltdown or whatever before we went, or kind of during we were at a business conference. It almost felt like my body wasn't myself because the emotions were so powerful and I couldn't control them. That was the first indicator that I was pregnant. The second thing is that I felt like with this one, I had a very weird pregnancy symptom. And the pregnancy symptom that I had was that I realized essentially I had some sort of weird gum sensitivity. You know, when you sometimes, most of us like went through it once, and then where we drink something very hot and we drink something very cold, and all of a sudden your teeth, I don't know what it's called, I think the enamel of your teeth and then your gums are really sensitive, and just your teeth kind of really hurt. It's not like hurtful, but it's just this weird painful sensation in a way, and it doesn't go away. And it went on for just kind of like 2 or 3 days. And I remember like, because I had just gone to the dentist like a month prior to just get my teeth cleaned, right? Like a full teeth cleaning, and everything was fine. I was like, I just don't understand this. Like, what is going on? This is I immediately, for me, that was an indication that there's something weird going on in my body. And I think I knew right away when I had the sensation, I think during the weekend. I couldn't take a pregnancy test yet because it was way too early. I still had to wait another 2 weeks, but I feel like this is where I totally knew with my second one that I was pregnant. Like, I knew I was pregnant, and I told my husband too, like, I know I'm pregnant, and he didn't believe me because it took us actually 5 years of trying naturally to, you know, have our first son. So be pregnant with our first son, or I'm pregnant with our first son. I think that was just, we thought it would take way longer, right? If we're going the natural route again. And so, like I said, we weren't necessarily trying or anything like that. But that is a very weird pregnancy indicator that I noticed, where I was like, okay, this is, I'm like, yeah, this is me being pregnant. Shortly after that, I think you of course have those kind of indications in the first trimester where my taste changed a bit, like not dramatically. I never would say I had crazy kind of like urges. You kind of hear about those stories. I feel like that never happened for me in both pregnancies. I think I have more just stronger urge to eat certain foods that I wouldn't normally eat. In my first pregnancy, I remember I was craving salmon and olives so bad. I remember when I was going to a Whole Foods counter, right? And they have this olive bar in the Whole Foods in America. And then it's usually they have all kinds of different olives, right, from Spain and Greece and whatever not. And so I was standing there and just kind of perusing over the kind of olives that I want to eat or that I want to take and buy home and then snack on, right? I never minded olives. It wasn't that I hated them, but I never would be that kind of person that would choose olives to snack on them. So that was definitely a very interesting thing that happened too in the first pregnancy. And with the salmon, it never went away. And the funny thing is, and I would love to hear from fellow mamas, of course, in the comments as well, if you have this too, where your child totally loves these things that you craved for, so kind of wanted to eat more of, or really maybe craved, that they really like right now as kids, because it's something really weird, right? Like sometimes people are like, oh, this is kind of odd, because my son loves eating kind of smoked salmon or you know, grilled salmon or whatever it is, as long as it's salmon, and he's just eating and snacking on olives. Like, of course we buy him the ones that are like where the pits have been removed already, but he loves to snack on them, and it's like so so interesting because what kid kind of like really likes that. And so with this pregnancy, I drove my husband nuts with it because so it's not like he isn't used to it, but we don't necessarily overly eat spicy foods. And so in this pregnancy right now, I have been like really wanting spicy food so bad. And so we are living in Switzerland now and not in California anymore. The spicy cravings to get essentially like spicy pregnancy, I shouldn't say spicy pregnancy food, but you know what I mean. And so you get spicy food is really ridiculously hard in the German speaking part of Europe, or maybe in all of Europe, I want to say, because I don't think Europeans eat spicy so much. It's been a little bit tough to get spicy food, but then, you know, I went to like an Asian grocery store and all this kind of stuff and another specialty market. And then I got myself some different kind of chili sauces, sriracha, of course. I got myself, you know, kimchi, all this kind of stuff. And then I put it on everything and made it usually so spicy that my husband is like, oh, I can't eat this anymore. Oh no! So that was kind of like the second very interesting thing. I think I just like wanted to talk about it because I saw it trending on YouTube about how did you find out you were pregnant without taking a pregnancy test first. Like I said, with my first pregnancy, I think it was really because I remember just like this complete crazy ass meltdown that I had in the hotel room, like during like this conference, right? And there was no indicator, no reason why I should have felt like this, but I just remembered it was almost like the emotions were taking on a life on their own, and I felt like I couldn't control anymore my body, right? And so I didn't understand why I felt this way and this kind of stuff. And so my husband was confused too. That was the first indicator before I took the pregnancy test there that I thought that well, I didn't know it then, right? But when I was looking back with the first one, because like I said, it took us 5 years of trying to conceive our first son. Back then I didn't. I feel like it was a very lucky moment when we found out that we were pregnant, and very grateful one. Looking back, that was probably the indicator. So if you already know, if you're an experienced mama, I would love to know if you were that kind of woman too who knew it totally with their first one already. Because I heard that that's actually a little bit rarer, right? Like I would love to know from you. Because usually when you have like your second, or maybe you have like your third or fourth or fifth or whatever child, I heard that it's kind of fairly easier to kind of be in tune with your body and already know the kind of sensations or certain patterns that you can expect to feel, to experience, even though of course every pregnancy is different. And I would say that this pregnancy was definitely also different than the first one. I did feel a little bit more nauseous than with the first one, even though I have to say, which was cool, is I don't know, there's actually, it's a little bit tricky. I don't know why I shouldn't say this, but so with the first and the second one, I felt like I got lucky because I never had any kind of sickness, right? Morning sickness or evening sickness or anything like that. And I know that this is very, very, very common among, you know, a lot of my pregnant friends or past pregnant friends. So I do consider myself lucky. Another thing though that makes this hard is because, like for instance, with my second pregnancy especially, or with the first one too, is that I did feel nauseous. Like with the second one, of course, more. I never had to throw up or anything like that. Like you feel nauseous, or I felt nauseous. But the only way to make the nausea go away is that I ate. So I snacked a lot. In essence, like with my first one too, even though I'm usually a fairly healthy person, like not 100% because I don't know who is, fairly healthy person, you know, love to exercise, really like it, like to stay active, that kind of stuff. But I did end up gaining almost 65 pounds with my first pregnancy. I think that's around 30 kilos. I have to check on that. That was also because I hear that usually my friends who did have like an experience those terrible nausea where you have to throw up during the first trimester, which you kind of like see a lot also in movies and stuff like that, because it usually makes you also kind of like lose weight, right? So you're kind of like then gaining weight at a maybe healthier rate. And so for me, that was one thing that was actually really tricky, which I didn't expect, right? So that's kind of like the drawback there, even though I didn't have to hang on over the toilet all the time. For some of you that are watching this right now, you're like, oh, what are you talking about? Shut up, right? Because this is like so much better. But yeah, honestly, like that afterwards I felt like, because it was really hard for me, you know, because my body kind of like blew up so much, and it didn't kind of like have this, maybe like from what I heard from my friends. I would love to hear if you had a different experience. But this late, I didn't go for this kind of like semi period where I was losing some weight to gain that weight. So for me, it was always a kind of my body blowing up like a bubble in a little bit like that. But anyways, so far, this is gonna be the first video on this. I'm gonna record probably some more pregnancy videos on this because I really love talking about it, and I love hearing from other moms and of course women about their stories, their experiences, all this kind of stuff. I'd love to have some conversations, get started in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. And I see you in the next video. Bye.